Hello everyone! I am back again today with more Phantom of the Twilight. I'm thinking to do Harvey's route today and then do Charlie's route most likely tomorrow. I keep saying like I won't play more every day and then I proceed to play more every day. So again, it's either tomorrow or in 2 days. But yeah. So for today we're doing Harvey. I think Harvey was like I'm most interested in Harvey before I accidentally got myself into Aaron's route. So we will be... Oh, hi! Welcome! You're fast! So yeah, we will be doing his route. I'm very excited to see it. I hope I still like him after the route. Hi! Okay, let's start from the very beginning to pick... Yeah.
체리 푸딩 케이크인데 어떠세요?
I said I'll start in 15 minutes. Well, I'm clearly a liar, I guess. I didn't want to get out of bed. I'm sorry, okay? I bed rot like crazy. Please forgive me. Okay. Shit, I think I have to start like from the very beginning. Let me do that. Title? Start. Yeah. It's being mean to me. Why are you stuck in Lucy? Okay. Key. Let's just skip until the very first option. Okay, I'm gonna save here. So that way I can just immediately reload every time. Okay. It is my duty. It's my duty as the heir of House Linder. It's certainly not a breeze, but I would like to do better.
언제 이렇게 다 크셨을까? 오늘 아침만 해도 일어나기 싫다고 칭얼대시던 분이 하루가 다르게 성장하고 있네요.
Me every morning. Kinda rude of him to mention it though. When you put it like that, it makes it sound like I'm going to grow old quite quickly. I want a long and prosperous life, you know? Anyways, this concerns the life of everyone living on the estate. I think we're done. Yep. And then Mary's dead. Can I skip this? It would be nice if I can. I don't want to get copyrighted. Okay, fuck me then. I guess we can't. I'll just save again. I don't care. If it's truly Mary on the floor there, I need to see it with my own eyes. The police will need someone to check her identity.
그건 아가씨가 아니라 제가 해야 됩니다. 메리의 얼굴 정도는 저도 외우고 있으니까요.
I didn't think of that. Shouldn't you be the one to get away from this scene? The thick scent of blood might be overwhelming for you.
아가씨가 제 걱정을 하시기에는 아직 몇백 년은 이릅니다.
Always with the attitude. Hi, handsome. Stay silent for a bit. The way he's looking at me feels unwarranted. We've never even met before. There's no need for this kind of hostility. It was something I experienced repeatedly since I was a child, but it wasn't something I could easily get used to. This unfair treatment was about to make me upset, but I tried to push it down. After all, Charlie taught me that I have to keep my composure with people like him. Oh. The victim is someone I personally know or something? I'd prefer it if you refrain from that kind of unjustified slander.
그러시군요. 실례했습니다.
It is not the appropriate time. I'm a student. I'm actually a student at this college. I came here to say that I wanted to take your classes.
그래요? 그렇게 말해주니 교수로서는 자랑스럽지만
His fingers are so long.
안타깝게도 시기를 놓친 학생은 내 권한만으로 강에 넣을 수가 없어요. 행정실에 가서 직접 물어봐 주세요.
I was worried that the conversation would end here, so I decided to come clean. And skip. Tell Harvey to stay. He wants me to tell him to stay? Damn. Masochist? Wait, Professor. Please, hear me out. I had no intention of forcing you to do something. I assumed you and Charlie were acquainted, but I had no idea you would be this uncomfortable.
이제 와서 그런 사실 확인이 무슨 의미가 있죠? 난 저자와 얽히고 싶은 생각이 추호도 없어요. 당신이 어떤 사람이든지요.
Perhaps he could tell I was desperate from my voice. Even though his words were harsh, his expression softened a little.
그 이름을 들었을 때 알아챘어야 하는데.
Skip. Handsome? Okay. That bouquet, it's from me. Is it okay if I join you? I was paying my respects. He realized that I was the person who came before him and looked somewhat surprised.
이 늦은 밤에 여기까지 혼자 오신 겁니까?
His eyes are so pretty. I wanted to come back. To be fair, Charlie's probably somewhere nearby. I shrugged and stood next to him, quietly paying my respects. I thought about all the times I spent with her, with gratitude and admiration. My poor throat. Is this not the same? It is the same. Hand the girl some coins. I dug around my pocket and found a few coins that were of no use to me. Damn rich girl. Not completely satisfied with my finds, I handed the coins to the child. Whenever you get hungry, come to 220 Laker Street on Monday. They should give you a week's worth of bread. I go every week. Is that so? Then, is it not enough? My parents always eat all of it, so I don't have anything left to eat. Poor baby! Oh dear. I promised myself to find a better solution to save the children. Thank you, my lady. Wait. The girl bowed and was about to leave. Ask if they were witnesses to the crime. Without any concern or fear whatsoever, I think I already did this one. Oh no, never mind. Did you witness the murder that occurred in the close vicinity? More precisely, did you steal the victim's belongings? Or do you know who stole them? She must be mad. What are you talking about? No one cares about the belongings of some poor woman. That was when I became certain. At the very least, they knew who the victim was. Charlie restrained them without killing them. I'll be questioning them about what happened that day.
아가씨가 분부하신 대로.
It's just treating the injury. Hi! I think I already smiled last time, so I'm... And then... Thank him. Let him drink my blood. No choice. People often think I live a comfortable life, but that's not true. There are people this house is responsible for, problems this house has to deal with. A tiny misstep makes people angry, while peace makes people bored and annoyed. I don't try hard to be hated, but I would like to do a better job and be praised, me, every day. Alas, I'm not sure there will ever come a day where they are satisfied.
당신도 당신 나름대로 여러 가지 고민이 있네요. 제가 이제까지 귀족에 대해 많은 오해를 하고 있었던 것 같습니다.
I appreciate that. No CGs for us. This bottle of wine is from France, brought here by a supplier we've been dealing with for a while. I drink it quite often, as the taste is quite decent for the price.
이런 건 마셔본 적이 없어서.
There's nothing to it. Just drink it like you do water. I don't think you should drink wine like you do water. There was proper etiquette for drinking wine, but I didn't want to force any of that on him. He was struggling to adapt to the situation, but he soon took a sip out of the glass with a determined face. Well, it seemed like Aaron enjoyed the steak and okay. Speak up carefully. Actually.
그거 아십니까? 형사를 상대로 말을 더듬거린다는 것은 뭔가 찔릴 만한 행동을 했다는 가장 큰 증거라는 말과 같죠.
I'm just a naturally shy person. No, it's not. What? No, it's not like that. I realized I should clear up the misunderstanding and sue. The items. No. I don't. Go see Charlie. Tell him you are staying in today. I won't leave the mansion until the sun sets. Let's stay indoors all day. How does that sound?
갑자기 왜 이렇게까지 절 배려하시는 거죠?
I'm always
하고
considerate.
싶은 건 반드시 하셔야 했던 분이.
Well, that's quite harsh of you. I was always with you unless there was something special.
알고 있습니다. 농담입니다.
He teasingly responded and made his bed. Let's go out together after the sun sets.
그렇게 하시죠.
And then, take a few steps back. No, yeah, this is correct. Thought I was dying for a second there. Self-defense. Get off. I feared that the argument would not end, so I decided to provide a more persuasive reason. How would I protect you? Just think of today as your vacation day. As your employer, I can do that for you.
제가 정말 그런 걸 필요로 할 거라고 생각하시는 건 아니죠? 정식으로 아가씨께 받는 첫 휴가라고 감동의 눈물이라도 흘려야 하나요?
No, of course not. I just meant you should get some rest today. I forcibly ended the conversation and averted his gaze. I awkwardly picked up my jacket from the couch and noticed that Charlie was staring at me, as if he didn't want to miss any movement I was making. Blah blah blah. We skip. Stay still. Drink my blood. He's so pretty. Not hungry. Dance. He's so sweet. I love him. Chapter 5. Won't be in the way. I won't get in your way this time. I truly just wish to assist the investigation. I'd also like to prove Charlie's innocence while doing so.
포기하는 방법을 모르는 건가? 아니면 끈질기게 매달리는 걸 잘하는 건지.
I'd say it's both of those things. Aaron looked nonplussed at how shameless I was. I thought the police couldn't find anything, even after investigating night and day. Perhaps with me around you'll be able to find something new, just like Mary's belongings I found after I talked to the girl. Expect more of me. If I have been disappointing you, I'd like to formally apologize for that. I realize it would be difficult for you to see me differently after everything we've been through, but I'd still like you to expect more from me. I can assure you that I will try my best.
그렇게까지 말한다면야 한번 지켜보겠습니다.
This place is important to me as much as it is to you, after all. It was unexpected, but it was pleasant to hear Aaron's private thoughts at a place like this. Turn to him with a smile. I'm upset. Talk to the witness. So close to the start of the route. Good night, Evie. It's okay. I let out a small sigh and thought perhaps his presence was not needed. It's okay. I can't rely on you forever.
아가씨는 아직도 모르시는군요. 다른 사람들에게는 기대지 않아도 저에게만큼은 기대셨으면 좋겠다는 게.
Wait your route. It's really fine. I'll try my best to sleep without getting nightmares. For a moment, it seemed like he looked disappointed, but it was gone by a blink of an eye.
그럼 자리에 누우세요. 제가 정리하죠.
Right. Thank you. Compliment him? Throw a tantrum. His pretty eyes are gone. Carefully think about what to do. Sharing my blood was easy, and it wasn't a difficult task to lend him my hand. Perhaps it's not polite to offer him blood when he's having such a hard time dealing with all this. I was on the fence about my options, and in the meantime, it seemed like he had regained his calm.
이제 좀 괜찮아졌습니다. 신경 쓰지 마세요.
Oh, poor baby. Right. He looked up, forcibly smiling, and took a step back away from me. I knew it wasn't going to be easy for him to accept that he was a vampire, but there was a story I needed to tell him. Harvey's chapter start. The rumor that a possible serial killer had escaped the holding cell rapidly spread through the entirety of London. Furthermore, the story of how the young lady of the Linders caused a scene at the police station spread with it, so he came to the conclusion that I had to lay low for a while. I was enjoying my sleep when I was awoken by some noise that was coming from outside the door.
그게 말이 된다고 생각해요?
왜 말이 안 되죠?
사람의 기억을 직접 읽는 건 위험하다고 몇 번이나 말했잖아요. 그것 때문에 내가 이제까지 얼마나...
하지만 아론이 정말 살인범인지 확인하기에는 가장 좋은 방법 아닌가요? 어설프게 사건 현장이나 쏘다니면서 확실하지도 않은 기억을 읽는 것보다는 그게 빠를 텐데.
What are they talking about? I wasn't sure why they were arguing in front of my room, but I was intrigued enough to get up from my seat.
뭐 하긴 지금은 가능한지 아닌지도 모르니 이런 대화를 나눠봤자 무용지물이겠군요. 곧 수명을 다할 존재에게 무리한 일을 부탁하는
So rude.
예의는 아닐 테니.
Charlie is so mean. It sounded like things were about to get ugly, so I quickly opened the door. What are you talking about? See people's memories?
아가씨, 일어나셨군요. 마침 깨우려던 참이었는데 스스로 일어나시다니 잘 됐네요.
별 얘기 아니었어요.
Harvey avoided the topic while sighing, and it made me even more curious. Keep pushing a subject, of course. Wait, let me save. I could have moved on, but I didn't want to if it was concerning Harvey's safety. You said it was dangerous. How can it be nothing? If it's concerning you, I'd like to hear it.
아가씨,
So, tell me what's going on. He seemed to hesitate for a moment until he opened up, as if he had no other choice.
어제는 아론도 혼란스러운 것 같아 그대로 넘어갔지만 제대로 사건에 관한 얘기를 들어보고 싶다고 생각했어요. 정말로 일련의 사건에 연루되어 있는지 확신이 필요하기도 하고요. 그래서 언제가 좋을지 아가씨, 당신에게도 상의하고 싶었던 것뿐이에요. 다만 내가 타이밍이 좋지는 않았던 건 인정해요. 당신이 아직 일어나지 않았다면서 찰리가 이 방 앞에서 떡하니 지키고 있었으니까요.
아,
아침부터 허락도 없이 대뜸 아가씨의 방을 찾아오다니 대학 교수라고는 믿을 수 없을 만큼 몰상식한 행동이죠. 그렇지 않습니까? 그래서 전 아가씨의 수면을 방해할 생각 따위 하지 말고 좀 더 확실한 방법이 있다는 걸 말씀드렸을 뿐입니다.
Charlie, stand back.
당신은 정말 다른 이에 대한 존중 따위는 개나 줬나 보군요. 제 능력은 함부로 살아있는 존재에게 쓰면 안 돼요. 특히나 인간은 가지고 있는 기억 자체가 방대하고 어마어마하기 때문에 지금의 내가 시도했다가는
Yeah, don't
그게
force
무슨 말입니까?
him. At that moment, Aaron just walked out of the guest room, sounding confused. As everyone involved in the case was gathered together, I suggested that we move. Not too long afterwards, 4 people were in the Linder study. 3 of them vampires. It feels a little odd to be the only human in the room.
뭘 그렇게 경계하시죠? 뚫어지게 쳐다본다 해도 제 피는 더 이상 들을 생각이 없는데요.
그런 게 아닙니다.
붉은 눈동자가 꽤 잘 어울리네요. 마음에 드는군요.
약 올리려는 게 아니라면 그 입 좀 다물어 주시죠.
He is mean.
아니, 애당초 당신은 아무 생각 없이 내뱉은 소리겠군요. 아론이 왜 쳐다보는지 죽어도 이해하지 못할 테니.
교수님,
이제 형사님도 아시겠죠? 다소 탁해지긴 했지만 제 눈동자 역시도 당신과 같은 선홍색이니까요.
당신도 뱀파이어란 말입니까?
맞아요. 그래서 지금 당신의 마음을 이해할 수 있어요. 나 역시도 찰리에게 구해진 목숨이지만 저자를 도무지 받아들일 수가 없거든요.
저만 그런 게 아니었군요.
Charlie snickered, listened to Aaron and Harvey build some sort of camaraderie.
대체 왜들 그런 반응이죠? 말씀드렸을 텐데요. 전 당신들이 살려달라기에 살려줬을 뿐이라고.
The tensions rose again, and I had to quickly change the subject. Stop it. We're not gathered here to talk about that.
그런데 제가 궁금한 게 하나 있습니다만, 당신은 메리 체프먼의 피를 마시던 기억이 나서 그녀를 죽였다고 생각하고 있는 모양인데, 애당초 그들의 사이는 다수의 자상에 의한 과다출혈 아니던가요? 담당 형사였으니 그들의 해부 자료 또한 받아서 봤을 것 같은데요.
과다 출혈이라고 되어 있었지만 장담은 할 수 없는 겁니다. 피를 흘렸지만 숨이 붙어 있었을 때 제가 그녀를 제때 구하지 못했기에 그렇게 됐을지도 모르는 일이니까요.
그럼 그 시체나 현장의 피를 전부 마신 건가요? 기억은 나나요?
그건 아닌 듯 했습니다. 현장에는 과다 출혈이라고 설명이 될 만큼 다량의 피가 남아 있었으니까요. 하지만 제가 마신 건 맞습니다. 세 번째 사건이 일어났을 때 저는 그 근처에 있었고 우연히 현장을 발견했습니다. 그때까지만 해도 정신은 멀쩡했고 서에 남은 동료에게 연락하려고 했지만
Poor
어느
baby.
순간부터 기억이 사라졌고요.
그 시점에는 본인이 아직 뱀파이어라는 사실을 자각하지 못했던 거네요.
그렇습니다. 하지만 네 번째 사건 때 그날의 기억이 되살아났고 그 여자의 피를 마셨던 것이 떠올랐습니다. 그 쓰고도 떨린 맛이 아직도 생생한데.
잠깐, 뭐라고요?
Harvey.
제대로 된 피를
sorry.
마신 게 아니군요.
I'm in
당신이
auto.
뱀파이어라면 살아있는 인간의 피가 그 어떤 음식보다 맛있었을 텐데요. 썩 맛이 없었다는 건 이미 심장에서 피가 나온 지 시간이 좀 지나서 신선도가 떨어진 거네요. 아, 물론 신선도가 살짝 떨어진다고 맛이 크게 변하는 건 아닙니다. 다만 그렇게나 쓰고 떨궜던 건 메리가 숨을 거둘 때의 상황이 썩 좋지 않았다는 것일 테죠.
I still can't believe he just said that in front of us, who's clearly like having a hard time with Mary dying. I couldn't understand the flow of the conversation, and Charlie answered with a mysterious grin on his face.
제가 아가씨의 피를 마실 때 아가씨는 기분이 어떻죠?
Huh? Why would you ask such a thing?
말 안 해도 알고 있습니다. 아픈 건 둘째치고 행복하고 때로는 즐겁고 짜릿하죠.
Well, you could say that.
뱀파이어가 피를 마시는 상대에게 쾌락을 느끼게 해주는 건 그래서인 겁니다. 그 사람이 행복하지 않으면 최상급의 피를 마실 수 없거든요.
Is that so?
그런 겁니다.
아무튼 그렇다는 건 아론이 피를 마실 시점에 메리는 이미 죽어 있었을 가능성이 크겠네요. 내가 본 기억은 죽은 메리의 피냄새에 이끌려 이성을 잃고 나타난 붉은 눈의 아론이겠군요.
That makes sense.
그러고 보니 조금 전에도 얘기하던데 기억을 봤다는 게 무슨 말입니까? 교수님은 그 사건의 목격자이신 겁니까?
The question seemed to have bothered Aaron all along. He finally spoke up.
제대로 설명을 한 적이 없었군요. 뱀파이어는 흡혈을 하면 특별한 능력이 생기게 되거든요. 나는 어떤 물건이나 장소에
By the
깃든
way,
기억을 읽어내는
Aaron ended up never having an ability. They just kind of glossed over it.
않아서 이제는 그렇게까지 쉽게 능력을 쓰지 못해요.
That sucks.
하지만 아가씨가 제게 메리의 유품을 가지고 왔을 때 메리의 시체 앞에 붉은 눈동자의 남자가 서 있는 기억을 읽어낸 적이 있었어요.
이제 알겠군요. 당신이 왜 메리 체프먼의 유품을 가지고 있었는지.
I'm sorry for not delivering it right away.
됐습니다. 어차피 저희는 그 유품에서 아무것도 발견하지 못했을 겁니다.
After Aaron's offhand response, Harvey brought the conversation back on track.
아무튼 내가 본 기억과는 별개로 나도 자상으로 인한 과다출혈이 그녀의 사인에 더 크게 작용했을 거라고 봐요. 그리고 아론은 세 번째 사건에 대해서만 기억이 있을 뿐이지 그 전의 사건들과는 아직까지 이런 연관성이 없잖아요. 백보 양보해서 정말로 당신이 메리의 피를 마셨을 수는 있어도 진범 따로 있다고 생각해요.
정말로 그럴까요?
I am. That's why I brought you here.
그렇다면 이제 다음 플랜은 정해졌군요.
Charlie, with his signature relaxed smile, continued.
진범을 찾아야겠죠?
알겠습니다.
어차피 나도 슬슬 대학에 다시 강의하러 나갈 생각이었으니 소식이 있으면 들고 올게요.
The operation meeting wrapped up, proving to be more fruitful than expected. After the meeting, I knocked on the door of the guest room that Harvey was staying at.
누구시죠?
It's Vere.
들어와요.
He opened the door and I walked in. As soon as I entered the room, I could tell that he was getting ready to leave.
얘기할 수 있는 시간이 길지는 않을 것 같은데 무슨 일이에요?
Are you going back to teaching today?
그렇죠. 사실은 며칠 전부터 계속 연락이 오고 있었어요. 언제쯤부터 나갈 수 있을지 적절한 시기를 찾고 있었는데 핑계 삼아 나가기에도 좋은 것 같아서요.
Are you feeling better?
인정하긴 싫지만 확실히 찰리와 같은 공간에 있으니 많이 회복되더군요. 완전히 이곳을 나가는 건 아니고 아마 당분간은 이 저택에서 학교로 다니게 될 것 같아요.
I see. I looked at him tying his tie and pondered for a moment. Harvey, can I come with you?
어디를요? 레이커가로 나가는 거라면 가는 길까지는 같이 갈 수 있겠지만
King's College. I want to listen to more of your lecture. Harvey, having straightened out his clothes, turned back and smiled.
강의를 듣고 싶으면 킹스 칼리지의 학생으로 등록해야죠. 언제까지 도둑고양이처럼 몰래 앉았다 가게요?
Well... I wasn't interested in attending college itself, so I decided to take a different approach. Would you be willing to give private lectures? I'll pay you however much tuition you want.
원하는 대로라니. 또 그런 무모한 소리를. 그렇게나 내 강의가 듣고 싶은가요?
Of course. Harvey burst out laughing at my brazen response.
어쩔 수 없네요. 원칙이 어떠하건 나는 교수로서 가르침을 원하는 학생은 거절할 수가 없거든요.
Then, can I join you?
그래요. 같이 가요.
With that, I left the mansion and headed to King's College with Harvey. I had been here not too long ago, but it felt quite different. This place is still packed with students,
난 곧바로 강의가 있어서 교실로 갈 건데 아가씨도 따라올 건가요?
He's asking us to come with him. Of course.
열의가 넘치는 학생이어서 좋네요. 그럼 이쪽으로 와요. 이쪽에 앉아요.
Thank you. As soon as I entered the classroom, Harvey sat me down, and everyone's eyes locked on me. Isn't it Vera, the Linder heir? I think so. I've never heard of her being a student here. What's going on? Even Professor Harvey, who hasn't been here in a while, is taking care of her himself. Last time I sneaked into his class without his permission, which allowed me to get away without attracting much attention. Trying my best to ignore the curious glances of students who were suspicious about me, I turned to Harvey, who was standing in front of the board.
자, 오늘은 범죄자들의 심리에 관해서 연구해볼 차례군요.
Yippee! I had heard before that Harvey was one of the leading authorities on criminal psychology. But I didn't know I'd be attending this lecture myself, so I tuned in with excitement and anticipation.
저번 시간에는 범죄 심리학의 개념에 대해서 간단하게 설명했었죠. 미시적 관점에서의 범죄 심리학의 연구 대상은 범죄 주체의 심리학이나 행동 등이 됩니다. 즉, 범죄의 동기, 특성, 범인의 사고 패턴 및 범죄자를 통제하는 과정에서의 다양한 심리학 특성의 합계를 봐야 하죠. 거시적 관점에서의 범죄 심리학에서는 이런 것들도 전부 포함할 뿐만 아니라 범죄 대책의 심리적 문제도 함께 연구하게 되고요. 그에 관한 예시로 실제 케이스를 살펴볼까요? 먼저 미국에서 일어난 사건 중
Professor! As Harvey continued explaining, someone in the middle of the room raised their hand.
뭐죠?
Since we're talking about criminal psychology today, I'm curious to know what you think about the recent serial killings. I heard that a former Lakers Street police officer turned himself in, and then escaped the holding cell. What could be the reason? I heard he saved innocent lives and helped solve several cases. I guess the outside world still believes that Aaron is the culprit. Given the lack of progress in the investigation so far, I felt bad for Aaron. He remained silent for a moment and started speaking with a serious expression.
글쎄요. 경찰이 도주 중인 그를 열심히 찾고 있을 테니 사실 내가 함부로 말을 얹을 권리는 없다고 생각합니다. 하지만 연구자의 관점에서 분석해 보면 그 사람은 범인이 아니라고 생각이 드네요.
I didn't think that Harvey would defend Aaron at a place like this. Surprised, I looked around to see everyone's reactions. What did the professor just say? He's not the culprit? But he turned himself in, didn't he?
내 견해가 궁금하다고 하니 솔직하게 말해보는 거예요. 방금 저 학생이 말한 대로 그 사람은 일련의 사건이 가진 특성과 전혀 맞지 않거든요. 경찰이 발표한 자료에 따르면 앤 니콜스, 엘리자베스 베스트, 메리 체프먼, 캐서린 로드의 살해 방법은 아주 잔혹하죠. 날카로운 칼에 의한 다수의 자상에 일부 장기가 사라졌을 정도니까요. 찔린 후에도 고통을 느끼게끔 치명상을 입히는 데까지 시간이 오래 걸렸고 보란듯이 시체를 두고 사라졌다고 하더군요. 나는 이 사건들에서 이루 말할 수 없는 깊은 어둠과 악의가 느껴져요. 아주 명확한 살해 의도와 동기를 가진 것 같거든요. 자신감이 넘치고 자신이 이러한 행동을 저지르는 것에 대해서 당당해요. 희생자들은 빈민가에서 살아온 여인의 평범한 시민까지 다양해서 정확한 범행 동기는 아직 모르겠지만요. 하지만 확실한 건 이 범죄를 저지른 사람은 그 이유가 무엇이든 간에 돌이킬 수 없는 죄를 저질렀다는 점입니다. 나도 하루라도 빨리 이 사건이 해결될 수 있기를 바라고 있어요.
Harvey's logical explanation ended, and the students began clapping in appreciation. As expected, Professor, you're amazing! How can you deduce the culprit like that? He didn't deduce shit! He's just explaining stuff. Deducing means like naming someone, no? I joined the others' applause and looked at Harvey. Suddenly it felt like our eyes met. After the lecture, I returned to the office with Harvey. Today's lecture was quite interesting.
다행이네요. 당신의 지적 탐구에 도움이 좀 되었나요?
Of course, and it was also quite a bit surprising.
말해두지만 전 아론을 감싼 게 아니에요. 그 학생이 제 의견을 묻기에 솔직하게 대답해줬을 뿐이죠.
He responded calmly, as if he already knew what I was going to say.
확실히 1년의 연쇄살인 사건은 좀처럼 볼 수 없는 케이스예요. 살해 방법은 대담한 데다 정성이 많이 들어갔는데도 증거를 아무것도 발견하지 못할 만큼 절두철미하죠. 게다가 각각의 희생자들에게는 공통점이 없고 교차점 또한 존재하지 않아요. 그러니 주변 인물들을 아무리 뒤져도 원한이나 지정 같은 뻔한 동기조차 찾기가 힘들죠.
You're not wrong. Harvey sighed softly as he shuffled through the papers on his office desk.
이럴 때 제레미 교수님은 뭐라고 말씀하셨을지.
Professor Jeremy?
내게 심리학을 알려주신 은사님이에요.
Whoa.
내 능력만으로는 도저히 이해할 수가 없는 인간 심리가 궁금해서 강의를 듣기 시작한 게 계기였죠. 사실은 그저 취미삼아 공부만 해보고 끝낼 생각이었는데 은사님이 은퇴하시면서 나에게 부탁하셨어요. 앞으로 세상은 점점 타인에게 무관심해지고 내면에 관해서 연구하지 않게 될 거라고요. 그러니 아직 심리학을 공부하고자 하는 이가 있다면 내가 명맥을 이어서 인재를 발굴해달라고도 했죠.
I see. It was then that I realized why Harvey, who didn't particularly like getting involved with others, had taken on the role of a professor.
어쩔 수 없이 맡은 자리였는데 누군가를 가르치는 게 나름대로 적성에 맞았나 봐요. 그만둘 타이밍을 찾지 못하고 어찌저찌 몇 년째 이어지고 있네요. 이 자리도 곧 내려놓아야 할 텐데.
Even though he said that, I could feel the deep affection in Harvey's eyes as he smiled while flipping through the pages of the books he had probably read countless times. This one, maybe? I want to keep attending your lectures, Harvey. You're not only suited for it, but you have a talent for it.
그런 걸까요?
As long as there are people who want Professor Harvey Rose to keep teaching, I don't think you should let it go so easily. I've never met Professor Jeremy, but I'm sure he entrusted you with this responsibility because he thought the same.
아가씨가 그렇게 말하면 정말 그런 것 같은 기분이 드네요.
So don't give up easily on the things you have now. They're by your side because they hold their own meaning, right?
아가씨,
Maybe it was because I was inspired by the professor's lectures, but I later realized that I too had been enthusiastically nagging him. Harvey looked at me for a moment with a slightly surprised expression, then smiled softly, as though he realized something.
이번엔 내가 당신에게 강의를 받아버렸네요. 유익한 강의 고마워요.
Are you teasing me now?
아니요, 난 진심이었는데. 오랫동안 언제 떠나야 할지만을 고민해왔던 게 너무 버릇이 되었나 봐요. 당신 덕분에 조금 정신이 들었어요.
baby.
아직은 내가 해야 할 일이 남아 있는데 이런 고민을 하는 건 시기에 맞지 않겠죠.
You're right. I already knew that Harvey wished to finish his life without continuing to drink blood. But the more I got to know him, the more I found myself hoping that he would choose to keep living. I wasn't sure where this feeling was coming from yet. Basic human compassion? I don't know.
자, 그럼 이제 여기까지 온 김에 좀 더 조사하러 가볼까요?
Investigating? While I was deep in thought, Harvey changed the subject.
아론과도 약속했잖아요. 상황을 살펴보고 알려주겠다고요.
Ah, yes, I remember. Harvey placed the book he had been holding back onto the shelf, and we left his office together. We began questioning students around the campus, using research as an excuse to ask them various questions. No, I've heard no such rumors. Besides, it doesn't concern us, does it? The killer only targets women, and most of the victims are from lower and impoverished classes. That's why I always make sure to walk home with someone. I don't go out late at night anymore either. However, the students of King's College seems to regard the series of murders as little more than another headline in the news. It felt as though they weren't particularly concerned, and there was no real sense of urgency regarding Aaron's case. After hours of asking around, we didn't gain much useful information, and I found myself sitting on a bench, feeling a bit downhearted. As I thought, it's difficult to get any more information this way. When I walked around with Aaron on the day of the fourth incident, the situation was pretty much the same.
사실은 아까 강의 시간에 그 학생이 물어봐준 덕분에 좋은 생각이 하나 떠올랐는데요.
A new idea?
나는 그 범인이 명백한 살해 의도를 가지고 있는 사람이라고 말했죠.
Yes, but there's nothing in common between the victims, so we still don't know why they were murdered so brutally.
하지만 범인은 분명 실제하고 있죠. 그렇게까지 철저하게 준비해서 실행에 옮겼으니 희생자를 고르는 데에는 분명히 나름대로 이유가 있을 거예요. 우리가 아직 그걸 발견하지 못했을 뿐이죠. 그렇다면 범인의 처지에서 생각해보면 어떨까 하는 생각이 들었어요. 예를 들면 사건 현장에 적합한 인적이 드문 거리는 어딜까? 원하는 시간에 그들은 그곳을 지나갈까? 온다면 그걸 파악하기 위해서 범인은 얼마나 많은 시간 동안 그들을 관찰하고 있었을까? 왜 이렇게까지 잔혹하게 해야 했을까? 무기는 왜 칼이었을까? 그리고 그 사람의 성격상 증거 인멸은 어떻게 했을까? 어떤 루트를 통해 도망갔기에 목격자가 이렇게 적을까?
Now that you mention it, that's true. Up until now, I've only thought about how to catch the killer, but I haven't really considered of what the killer was thinking or how they acted.
자, 아가씨, 내 강의를 열심히 들었으니 이제 문제를 내볼게요. 그럼 지금부터 내가 뭘 하자고 말할 것 같아요?
Revisiting the crime scenes from the killer's perspective.
왜 그렇게 생각하죠?
Well, instead of just looking for traces left behind by the killer, I feel like we might notice something new.
맞아요. 아주 잘했어요.
Getting praise makes me happy. Harvey smiled with satisfaction, agreeing with my reasoning.
그럼 일단 첫 번째 사건 현장부터 돌아볼까요?
With that, Harvey led the way out of King's College, heading toward our destination. When we arrived at the first crime scene, Harvey stood in the spot where the body had been found and looked around.
일단은 아론의 자료를 봤을 때는 시체가 이런 방향으로 있었다고 하더군요. 그러면 범인은 아마 이쪽에서 다가온 거겠죠. 희생자를 돌려 세웠을 가능성도 있지만 저쪽은 번화가이니 숨어서 기다리기 쉽지 않았을 테고요.
That makes sense. Harvey slowly moved to a corner where the killer might have stood, staring blankly at the spot where the body had been.
범인은 여기서 얼마나 그 사람을 기다렸을까요? 무슨 생각으로 여기서 기다렸을까요?
But if the killer waited here for too long, someone would have found them suspicious. As you can see, even at this hour, it's still a fairly busy street. There aren't any places to hide completely. Unless they lived in one of the nearby buildings or were inside one, I feel like there should have been more witnesses.
그것도 그렇네요. 하지만 이 근처는 상점가의 구석이라서 거주하고 있는 주민이 드물고 인적이 급격하게 줄어들죠. 범인이 그 사실을 이미 알고 있었다면 여기서 오래 기다릴 필요는 없었을 수도 있겠어요.
That makes sense if the killer was familiar with this area. Harvey continued to analyze the victim's movements just before death and speculated on what the killer might have done afterward. Then he jotted down several possible scenarios in his notebook before we moved on to the next crime scene. We visited the first, second, and third crime scenes. By the time we arrived at Mary Chapman's scene, the sun had already begun to set in the west. It's already getting late. It doesn't feel like we found any significant clues yet.
당연히 돌아다니는 것만으로는 힌트를 찾아내기는 어렵죠. 이제 오늘 현장을 돌아다니면서 분석한 것들을 토대로 종합적인 의견을 내야 할 필요가 있어요.
Harvey began pacing around the area, deep in thought, before turning to ask me a question.
아가씨는 사건 다음 날 이곳에 왔었죠? 당시 상황은 어땠나요? 시체는 어떤 방향으로 누워 있었죠?
You've seen the report, so you already know, but the body was lying like this in this direction. There was a lot of blood pulled against this wall and on the ground. People were gathered around this area, focused on this spot.
그렇군요. 그렇다면 범인은 아마 이 방향에서 메리를 쓰러뜨리고 이곳에서 눕혀서 몇 번이나 아마 밤이 되면 가로등 그림자에 가려서 아무것도 보이지 않을 테니까요. 아니, 잠깐.
Just as Harvey was about to continue his analysis, he suddenly stopped, looking around as if something didn't make sense.
메리는 왜 이 길을 걷고 있었던 거죠?
What do you mean?
메리 체프먼은 린델가의 저택에서 숙식하며 일하는 친구였죠. 그녀의 집도 이 근처가 아니고요. 루이스의 증언에 따르면 그녀는 아가씨의 선물을 사서 돌아올 거라고 했지만 그대로 아침까지 오지 않았다고 했죠. 그렇다는 건 그날 밤 저택으로 돌아가는 길이었을 텐데.
Suddenly I realized what Harvey was trying to say. This place is way too far from the mansion. It's in the complete opposite direction from where she should have been going. And it's also really far from the shop where she would have bought the handkerchief.
그거요.
Harvey stared at the spot where the body had been, as if something was dawning on him, and then turned to look at me with a determined face.
아가씨, 나에게 다시 한번 피를 줘요. 그때는 단순히 이 장소에만 집중해서 무언가를 발견하려고 했었어요. 하지만 그날 무슨 일이 있었는지 이 지역 전체를 폭넓게 보다 보면 분명히 무언가를 알 수 있을 것만 같아요.
Are you going to be okay though? Harvey, are you sure about this?
어떻게든 해봐야죠. 그래도 최근엔 찰리 덕분에 몸 상태도 좋아졌으니 아마 버틸 수 있을 거예요. 그러니 날 도와줄래요?
How can I say no? I remembered how Harvey had nearly fallen into a coma after pushing himself too hard last time. I couldn't agree to this easily. But when I looked into his serious eyes, I couldn't bring myself to stop him. Fine. I took a deep breath and extended my hand to him. You can have my blood. However, I won't let you push yourself to the brink. I'll stop you before then, no matter what.
아가씨, 당신이 나를 걱정하는 건 알아요. 하지만 그렇게 어설픈 각오로 정말 우리가 원하는 걸 얻을 수 있을까요?
I know I'm being soft-hearted. If something must be sacrificed, I would rather it be me. I have more to give than you do, Harvey. My money, my blood, even my life. But all I can offer you right now is nothing more than a meaningless opportunity. My blood can only do so much, and I'm sorry for that.
아가씨,
His hand that took mine was cold to the touch, yet so tender and soft. His eyes, murkier and darker red than those of other vampires, suddenly seemed to hold a warmth, as if compensating for his cold body.
약속할게요.
That sounds very Japanese. Why are there people setting off fireworks already? It's like 6 p.m. It's crazy.
그 마음을 절대 헛되이 하지 않겠다고.
His pale, beautiful hair glowed orange in the light of the setting sun. As his lips brushed against my skin, I held my breath, anticipating the sensation that would soon follow. A short, sharp pain as something pierced my skin caused me to let out a soft whimper.
왜일까요? 아가씨, 당신의 피가 자꾸만 나를 살고 싶게 만들어요.
Then live!
욕심인 걸 알면서.
Harvey?
그러니까 걱정하지 말아요. 이번엔 분명 잘할 수 있을 것 같은 기분이 들어요.
As I felt the blood leaving my body, my legs grew weak, and I almost collapsed. He had anticipated it and caught me in his arms. He gently helped me lean against the wall before walking away. Harvey, where are you going?
범인의 행적을 쫓아갈 거예요. 시체가 놓여있던 이 지점에서부터 거꾸로.
Harvey pulled a notebook from his pocket and began comparing it with details of the crime scene as he walked. Wait, I'm coming with you! Thankfully, Harvey hadn't taken much blood, so I quickly regained my strength and followed him.
손수건을 샀던 가게는 저쪽에 있었을 테니 평소라면 저쪽 큰 길가로 왔겠죠. 하지만 주인의 말에 의하면 가게를 나온 시간이 많이 늦었다고 했으니 그날은 최대한 빨리 갈 수 있는 지름길을 골랐을 거예요. 그래서 이쪽으로 들어왔을 테고 계속해서 이 길을 걷다가
By now, the sun had completely set, and the dark shadows of the night were beginning to blanket the streets. Harvey continued murmuring to himself, piecing the situation together. Suddenly he paused and turned to look at a dark alleyway.
설마 여기서 기다리다가 그냥 죽기 시작한 걸까?
In a trance-like state, Harvey approached the alley and placed his hand against the wall. Nice move. Harvey?
괜찮아요. 오늘은 잘 보여요. 조금만 기다려줘요.
His voice sounded clearer than usual when he used this ability, which reassured me. So I stood still, letting him continue.
그래, 넌 여기서 기다리고 있었던 거지? 어디 얼굴을 보여봐. 무슨 생각을 하고 그날 어떤 행동을 했는지, 왜 그랬는지 밝혀줄 테니까.
Harvey's eyes were closed as he continued to focus on the memory embedded in the place, and I noticed beads of sweat beginning to form on his face. Yet, unlike the last time, he wasn't groaning in pain. His condition seemed much better today. Harvey. Wanting to support him, I gently took his free hand, squeezing it for reassurance. He flinched at my touch, but quickly tightened his grip on my hand in response.
조금만 더. 조금만. 그래. 얼굴을.
Harvey? Are you alright? His previously calm demeanor quickly changed as his face began to contort suddenly. I was taken aback and grabbed his hand, shaking it, but he trembled all over like someone having a seizure and gave no response. Harvey, stay with me. Harvey! It was the first time I saw him like this. Harvey couldn't remove his hand from the wall and screamed in agony. And suddenly he lowered his head and stopped moving. Harvey, what's happening? Did you overdo it again? Are you okay? Try to come to your senses. Should I call for Charlie? Where is he? I held Harvey tightly with both arms as I searched for Charlie. I thought Harvey had fainted, but his body shook lightly once more. Harvey, are you awake? Harvey lifted his head, gazed at me with vacant eyes, a grin spreading across his lips.
어딜 도망가?
Oh no. Is he having like his personality overwritten by the memories or some shit? What did you say?
죄를 지었으면 마땅히 벌을 받아야지. 어딜 가려고?
In an instant, I was shoved with great force and thrown to the ground. Harvey climbed on top of me. Ouch! That hurts, Harvey! What do you think you're doing?
왜 그랬어?
What?
항상 나보다 더 그 사람의 가까이에 있으면서 나는 제대로 마음조차 전하지 못하는데 감히 그녀를 우롱하다니! 내가 얼마나 그 옆자리를 염원하는지 알기나 해? 그런데 다가가는 것조차 조심스러워서 항상 웃으면서 그 사람을 지켜볼 수밖에 없는 마음을 아냐고!
What are you saying? As his hands tightened around my throat, I could no longer breathe, and my vision began to blur. I struggled to escape from his grip, but Harvey didn't budge. He only stared down at me with eyes burning in rage.
그래, 먼저 어디를 쑤셔줄까? 먼저 피를 잔뜩 흘려서 몸을 가누지 못하게 한 다음에 여기저기를 파헤쳐서 전시할까? 아니지. 그녀를 욕한 이 입을 먼저 찢어버리는 게 좋겠지? 그럼 분명히 그녀는 다시 웃어줄 거야. 내게 다시 행복한 미소를 보여주면서 고맙다고 할 거야.
Harvey! Though he held nothing, with one hand raised high, it felt as though he was about to stab me. CG, please, CG. Gah. If this continued, I was certain to be struck, so I squeezed my eyes shut and braced myself.
네 놈이 명을 자초하는구나.
Suddenly, air filled my lungs, stinging painfully as I gasped and bringing tears to my eyes. With tearful eyes, I looked towards the voice I recognized so well. There, cold as ice, stood Charlie, looking down at Harvey. Charlie.
방해하지 마!
여러모로 문제가 많은 능력이야.
Although Charlie had sent Harvey flying with the blow, Harvey staggered to his feet, shouting in defiance. And yet, before Harvey could lift his hand again... Oh, poor baby. Oh no! Harvey! Before Charlie could do anything, Harvey coughed violently, spitting bright red blood and collapsing to his knees. No, not baby. Harvey, stay with me. Are you alright?
아가씨?
As Harvey raised his head, blood dripping from his lips, staining his shirt. His once aimless eyes now focused directly on me. For a moment he looked confused, glancing between Charlie and me. Then he looked down at his blood-stained hands. Slowly his eyes closed and he collapsed. That moment felt as if it passed in slow motion, as though time itself had been suspended. Harvey! As the moon was swallowed by darkness, the only sound that echoed through the deserted alley was my desperate voice calling his name. Later, Charlie, having finally calmed down from his earlier fury, carried the unconscious Harvey to the guest room. Since then, Harvey had been asleep for longer than when he first came to this mansion.
아가씨를 죽이려고 했다니. 당장 저택 밖으로 쫓아내 들개들이 먹이로 던져줘도 시원찮은데. 이렇게 침대에 눕혀서 지극정성으로 간호까지 해야 하다니.
Stop complaining.
집사체면이 말이 아니군요.
Charlie, don't say that. Something was wrong with Harvey at that time. There must be a reason for why this happened. Besides, you weren't entirely blameless either. You were gone for a while after we left King's College.
물론 그렇습니다만 아가씨가 저자를 감싸니 제 마음이 찢어지는군요. 제가 어떻게 키웠는데 이런 식으로 저를 내치시다니.
Wait your turn, Charlie. I'm not casting you aside. You are precious to me, Charlie. However, I'm asking you to be a little more understanding of Harvey right now. What Harvey said, those things weren't normal. I hoped that Harvey would explain what had happened when he woke up, but I was worried he might not remember anything, like before.
다만 하비는 더 이상 회복이 힘들지도
Excuse
모르겠습니다.
me? What? Charlie's words jolted me out of my deep thought as though I had been struck from behind. What do you mean he won't recover?
말 그대로의 의미죠. 원래도 사그러지고 있던 목숨이니 본인은 아마 크게 놀라지 않겠지만요. 아마 이제 얼마 남지 않았을 것 같군요. 최근 가깝게 지내셨으니 아가씨도 상심이 크시겠지만 마음의 준비는
You can't just say that, dude. However, his words were a strange, distant emotion, intelligible, unrealistic. Nonsense. Was it my fault that his life was shortening? How much time did he have left? There were still so many things I wanted to do with Harvey. So many lectures I still wanted to hear. An endless stream of thoughts raced through my mind, but I forced myself to push them all aside. Harvey will wake up again. He's been recovering well, especially with Charlie's help. There's no way he has so little time left. Charlie must be overreacting. Desperately trying to shake off the creeping sense of dread, I stayed by Harvey's side. But despite my hopes, 2 days has passed, then 3. Charlie came by several times. Even Aaron stopped by to check on Harvey, but there was no progress. It's fine. He slept for 2 days last time. Maybe it will just take a little longer this time. Harvey will be all right. I just need to be patient. I keep telling myself that as I waited, clinging to hope that he would open his eyes. But a week passed, and Harvey still did not wake up. I kept an eye on Harvey while trying to maintain my day-to-day, but as time passed, a sense of dread continued to pile up. Harvey? Are you really not going to wake up? Why do you keep sleeping? Wake up and talk to me. There are still so many things I want to ask you. Need to hear your explanation about what happened. And there's so much more I want to learn about criminal psychology. There's still plenty of wine I want to share with you, and I haven't even finished showing you around Laker Street. As my steadily growing anxiety finally exploded, tears that I had been holding back streamed down my face. Reached for his hand. Saddened, I tightly held Harvey's hand. Then, although his eyes were still closed, I felt as though he gently squeezed my hand in return. Harvey? Are you awake? I asked him, but there was still no response. However, unwilling to give in to the negative thoughts, I wiped away my tears and gave Harvey a light tap. What is this? You've slept so long that now I'm having strange thoughts. This is all your fault, Harvey. But the tears wouldn't stop, and I vented my frustration by squeezing his hand even tighter. A grown man sleeping in like this? Really? When you wake up, I'm going to make you give me a week of private lessons in criminal psychology as punishment. I'll lock you up in this mansion, and you'll teach me and no one else.
그건 벌이 아닌 것 같은데.
In the middle of my ramblings, I suddenly heard Harvey's weak laughter from the bed. I looked up in surprise to see Harvey truly awake, gazing at me. Harvey, why did you take so long to wake up? How long had I waited to see those cloudy crimson eyes focus on me again? For a moment I almost cried again, but I held back and glared at him instead.
미안해요. 너무 늦게 일어났나요?
Of course you did. I thought you were really going to die this time.
당신의 목소리가 들려서 겨우 긴 잠에서 깨어날 수 있었어요.
He smiled softly at me, and I couldn't help but give up on scolding him, instead smiling back through my tears. Though Harvey remained in bed for a little while longer, he eventually recovered enough to sit up on his own. Do you remember everything that happened that day?
네, 다 기억하고 있어요.
You remember choking me without consent?
내가 정말 싫어하는 감각이거든요.
A feeling you hate?
저번에 찰리와 대화할 때 당신도 문 뒤에서 듣고 있었죠? 이건 사람에게 이 능력을 쓰는 게 위험하다고 했던 이유와 연관이 있어요.
An older man? I don't think he's an older man, is he? He's like 20. Okay, late 20s? Well, depending on how young you are. All the men are around this age.
그건 대단히 민감하고 불안정해서 아주 많은 것에 휩쓸리기 쉽거든요. 예전부터 이렇게 강한 감정이 남는 물건이나 장소의 기억을 잊는 것만으로도 정신이 아득하게 멀어져가는 감각을 자주 느꼈어요. 그런데 사람과 접촉해서 그 사람의 기억을 읽으려 한다는 건 말 그대로 스스로 뇌를 파괴하려는 자살 행위나 다름없어요. 그래서 몇 번 이런 일을 겪고 나니 능력을 쓰는 것에 염증을 느꼈고 흡혈 역시도 하지 않게 됐어요. 그저 남들처럼 평범하게 살다가 생을 마감할 수 있다면 그걸
Sorry. I see. So that's why Harvey stopped feeding on blood. Learning Harvey's story filled me with sadness, but at the same time I felt a strange sense of joy. It was a sign that he had finally opened his heart to me, sharing something deeply personal. Harvey frowned in thought for a moment, and he soon uttered something shocking.
아마 난 그 자리에 강하게 남아있던 범인의 사념과 기억에 동화된 걸 거예요. 그래서 메리 체프먼을 죽일 때의 기억에 내가 동화됐고 그 결과 당신을 메리 체프먼이라 착각해서 죽이려고 시도한 거죠.
And then, Mary, really? Was she really murdered while hearing such terrible words?
그럴 확률이 높겠죠.
How could something so horrifying happen? The memory of Mary's final moments, which I had witnessed at the scene, resurfaced vividly, and my emotions surged.
확실한 건 진범의 동기를 알아냈던 거예요. 그는 누군가를 아주 깊이 사랑하고 있고 존경하고 있으며 동경하고 있죠. 그리고 그녀에게 해가 될 것 같은 사람들을 죽이고 있는 거예요. 벌을 내린다는 명목하에요.
My word.
아가씨,
While I reeled in shock, Harvey called me again, his expression serious.
그리고 또 하나 당신에게 전해야 할 진실이 있어요. 이걸 들으면 당신은 분명 자기 자신을 원망하게 될지도 몰라요.
I can't believe our MC didn't figure it out herself.
괴로워서 지금보다 몇 배는 더 울게 되더라도 어떻게든 현실을 받아들이고 상황을 마주해야 하죠.
Have I played Love in Deep Space? I had 7 accounts there way back when it first came out, but I've retired.
그런데도 이 진실을 들을 마음이 있나요?
Wait, what truth could be so terrible?
말해요. 각오가 되어 있는지 아닌지. 준비할 시간이 필요하다면 더 줄게요. 어차피 나도 몸 상태를 회복하는 데에는 조금 더 시간이 걸릴 테니까.
Yeah, that's kind of why I stopped playing Love in Deep Space. It's literally just to trap horny girls, like, or well, horny everyone who has a preference to seeing dudes. Like, the guys I like that had so much personality and story put into it is now just used for thirst traps, so I stopped playing. Also, they treat, like, F2P players like ass. I'll manage. There have been countless times in my life when I when I faced unexpected crises, things I could never have predicted. Does that mean you're trapped? I don't know, you can always quit. This would just be another one of those times. I gathered my thoughts, took a deep breath, and nodded. It's fine. I'll find a way to handle it. Just tell me, Harvey.
믿음직스럽네요. 당신도 이제껏 쉽지 않은 삶을 살아왔을 거라는 게 느껴졌어요.
He smiled at me gently, as if my resolve had moved him.
심리학에는 여러 가지 분야가 있어요. 이 세상에 일어나는 범죄를 연구하는 범죄 심리학, 아이들의 심리를 연구하는 아동 심리학, 그리고 고민을 털어놓고 위로받고 싶은 사람들을 위한 상담 심리학. 난 킹스 칼리지에서 상담 심리학도 가르치고 있어요. 아가씨도 예전에 청각한 적이 있을 거예요.
No, he teaches criminal psychology. What? I suddenly recalled the first time I went into Harvey's lecture hall, faintly remembering him standing in front of a chalkboard. Why are you bringing this up now? That's not the truth you were talking about, is it?
이야기를 듣고 당신이 정말로 너무 힘들고 괴로워서 도저히 뭔가를 할 수 있을 것 같지 않을 때는 정말 조금만 힘을 내서 내가 있는 이 방으로 찾아와줘요.
The only Harvey you know is Stardew the Harvey. Well, this is a better Harvey. He's hotter. Oh, it's Steve Harvey. I don't even know Steve Harvey. That's true.
그거 하나만 기억해주면 돼요. 언제든지 당신의 이야기를 듣기 위해서
That's sweet, though.
문 뒤에서 기다리고 있다는 걸 말이에요.
Counseling psychology is so hard because you have, like, the mental state you have to be in to actually be able to give someone like counseling, especially in a professional's case, is so difficult. I could never.
상담은 스스로 문을 열고 들어오지 않으면 시작되지 않으니까요.
His eyes, full of genuine concern, told me he meant every word.
약속해줄래요?
Okay. Harvey closed his eyes for a moment, then furrowed his brow as though recalling the memories he had been drawn into. Then he slowly opened his mouth to speak.
범인이 동경하는 대상은 다름 아닌 아가씨, 당신이에요.
What? I had heard his words clearly, but it felt as though my mind refused to process them.
그는 전부 당신을 위해서 이 모든 살인 사건을 저지른 것 같아요.
That night, the sight of Harvey consumed by madness, the terrible hypothesis, the one I had most dreaded. At last, I was forced to confront the truth, a feeling that seemed to pull the ground out from under my feet. I should then definitely not play What in the Hell is Bad. I've played it. I got bored. So
언제까지 계속 누워 계실 겁니까?
I play games for the story. Like for me, you know, thirst traps, sure, they can be there. I enjoy cute CGs every now and then. But if the story is boring, I can't pay attention. And if I can't pay attention, then I'm not going to have fun. So why would I play things? That's like the way I go about these games. So as long as I'm still paying attention, that means it's still good. Sorry, I don't feel well. I just need a little more time to rest.
체력 회복에 좋은 음식을 만들어 오겠습니다. 조금만 더 쉬고 계시죠.
Yes, okay. Harvey had finally woken up after a week. Now all that remained was to catch the killer, or so I thought. But ever since hearing Harvey's devastating confession, I found it impossible to move. I had tried several times to join Charlie or Aaron in hunting down the killer, but I no longer had the courage to face those involved. Did all those people die because of me? Throughout my life, I had faced unfounded hatred, been accused, slandered, and endured so much. It would be a lie to say I hadn't been hurt by these things, but I had always strived to live with pride, to hold my head high. Yet now, to think 4 people had been murdered because of me. I didn't want to believe it. I wanted proof that it wasn't true. But
항상 나보다도 그 사람의 가까이에 있으면서
what game that gives off yandere boy? Most of the games I've played recently has yandere boys in them, surprisingly. I think the yandere genre is becoming more popular again. Even in this one, there's yandere, so...
나는 제대로 마음조차 전하지 못하는데 감히 그녀를 우롱하다니! 내가 얼마나 그 옆자리를 염원하는지 알기나 해? 그런데 다가가는 것조차 조심스러웠어. 항상 웃으면서 그 사람을 지켜볼 수밖에 없는 마음을 아냐고!
That cry, which could never have belonged to Harvey, weighed down on me as if it were a reality I had no choice but to accept. Mary, I'm sorry. Huddled under the blanket, I clutched Mary's handkerchief tightly and whispered apologies that would never reach her. I really didn't know what to do anymore. Several days passed like that. Once again, I spent the entire day doing nothing but lying in bed, time slipping away unnoticed. I should really be thinking about what to do next. It had been so long since I had felt this kind of helplessness. Charlie tended to give me space whenever he sensed my melancholy, I feel like. Yeah. Trusting that I would get over it myself. Sorry. But this time, it wasn't so easy to shake off the crushing weight in my chest. Wonder how Harvey is doing now. After telling me all of that, he must be worried about me too. In a dazed state, with nothing crossing my mind, I thought of Harvey, still recovering in the guest room. Then,
이야기를 듣고 당신이 정말로 너무 힘들고 괴로워서 도저히 뭔가를 할 수 있을 것 같지 않을 때는 정말 조금만 힘을 내서 내가 있는 이 방으로 찾아와줘요.
this room?
그거 하나만 기억해주면 돼요. 언제든지 당신의 이야기를 듣기 위해서 내가 문 뒤에서 기다리고 있다는 걸 말이에요. 상담은 스스로 문을 열고 들어오지 않으면 시작되지 않으니까요.
His voice echoed in my mind, far too kind, causing a wave of emotion to rise within me. Harvey. On impulse, I opened the door and headed out of my room, walking towards the guest room where Harvey was recovering. His figure overlapped with the killer's continuous screams, slowly blurring everything Harvey had said in my mind.
아가씨,
And just as Harvey promised, I heard his voice from behind the door. Tears streaming down my face, I ran to his bedside. Damn, wish that was me.
이제야 와준 거예요?
Oh my god, wish that was me! Okay, sorry. A warm, welcoming tone that somehow seemed to convey a sense of relief. As if knocking on my heart that was hardening, I felt the heaviness melting away like snow.
꽤 오래 기다렸는데.
You know you could have looked for me, right? You're not my psychologist, so technically you can look for me as a friend.
그래도 당신이 약속 지켜줘서 다행이에요.
Harvey, I... Words failed me as I could only swallow the sobs as the tears streamed down my face.
알아요. 많이 괴로웠을 거라는 거.
Are we on him? On the bed? Okay, sure.
메리를 떠올리면 자신이 그렇게 만든 거라는 생각이 들어서 무서웠겠죠. 그리고 몇 번이나 당신 자신을 자책했을 거예요. 내가 뭘 잘못해서 그들이 그런 잔혹한 일을 당했을까? 그럼 나만 없었다면 그들은 그런 일을 당하지 않아도 됐던 걸까? 여러 가지 생각이 들었을 거예요. 그때마다 마음이 아프고 힘들고 움직일 수 없었겠죠.
I nodded slightly in response. Every word he said resonated with my heart, as though he could feel the depths of my anguish.
하지만 그건 아가씨의 잘못이 아니에요. 그들의 죽음은 슬픈 일이지만 책임을 지고 반성해야 할 사람은 따로 있죠. 그러니까 혼자서 죄책감을 다 짊어지려고 하지 말아요. 당신 역시도 결국에는 맹목적인 누군가의 범죄에 당한 희생자인 거예요. 공감과 위로가 필요한 한 사람일 뿐이죠.
Thank you for saying that, Harvey. Feeling a little lighter, I was finally able to smile again, even if it was just a small one. Harvey gently wiped away the tears from my cheeks with his hand.
난 당신이 이런 것에 지지 않았으면 좋겠어요. 때로는 근거 없는 비판이나 모욕이 쏟아지는가 하면 또 누군가는 온갖 이유를 붙여서 당신을 가로막겠죠. 지금처럼 전혀 알지 못하는 것에서 멋대로 뒤틀려 자라난 감정이 무서운 결과를 가져올 때도 있을 거예요. 그건 당신이 어떻게 할 수 없는 문제들이고 이 세상은 이미 그런 부조리한 것들로 넘쳐나니까요. 하지만 당신 곁에는 언제라도 이렇게 조금만 손을 내밀면 잡아줄 사람이 있다는 것만 기억해줘요.
What a sweet man.
당신이 맞닥뜨리게 될 어려움을 절대 혼자서 견디게 하지 않을 테니까요.
That means you too, Harvey? I knew he wasn't particularly attached to life, and that he was slowly nearing the end of his journey. Yet, I still longed for his comforting words to include himself. At some point, I had begun to hope for more time with him, to wish that he would become a part of my life. It was then that I finally realized my feelings.
그래요.
That easily?
당신이 원한다면 나도 곁에 있을게요.
This kind, selfless vampire who always seemed resigned to his fate, who listened to my unreasonable requests and patiently heard my stories. I had come to hold a deep, unspoken affection for him. That night, we talked for hours until I eventually fell asleep by his side. It was a peaceful night, with the half-covered moon shining brightly in the pitch-black dark sky. Afterwards, I returned to my daily life sometime later, and Harvey recovered enough to move around freely. Although the problem was not yet resolved, I planned to discuss it with Charlie and Aaron soon, so there would surely be some progress. When I felt somewhat at ease, I decided to set up a little tea time to express my gratitude to Harvey. Harvey, can you come here for a moment?
무슨 일이에요?
I told you, I brought some delicious wine. That's not tea time. I brought this especially for you, so let's enjoy it together.
그래요.
I headed to the balcony with Harvey, who had readily agreed. As I headed to the balcony where I had prepared a table in advance, I happened to catch Felix's eye as he was setting up the cake and desserts.
아가씨, 안녕하세요.
Ah, Felix! Thank you for your help at this hour. You could have just left it in the kitchen, but you brought it all the way here.
찰리가 자리를 비웠다고 하니 이 정도는 제가 해드릴 수 있죠. 그나저나, 하비 교수님? 교수님이에요?
안녕하세요.
As Felix's eyes widened in recognition, Harvey greeted him with a natural smile.
와, 여기서 뵙게 될 줄이야. 설마 아가씨와 같이 식사하시는 건가요?
그런 셈이죠.
그렇구나. 부럽네요.
같이 식사하실래요?
아니에요. 괜찮아요. 제가 어떻게 감히 아가씨와 같은 테이블에 앉아서 뭘 먹겠어요. 전 그냥 아가씨가 제가 만든 케이크를 먹고 맛있다고 웃어주시기만 하면 그걸로 만족해요. 그게 제 행복이거든요.
그렇군요.
Harvey nodded slowly, but still seemed unsettled. What's going on? I swear if he figured that out just because he said he wants to see me smile, that's like the stupidest way to say, you must be the killer, you know? Like, I wish, if they do that, I hope they worded it nicely. I noticed a small change in his expression, but decided to let it go for the moment.
그럼 전 이만 가볼게요. 두 분 즐거운 시간 보내세요.
Thank you, Felix. Felix left the balcony, leaving behind just Harvey and me. Shall we open the wine? I opened the wine with the opener on the table, but Harvey remained deep in thought, almost as if lost in his world.
저 친구와는 얼마나 오래됐죠?
In what regards?
펠릭스라는 저 친구.
It's been quite a while. Felix comes from a family famous for their desserts, but he was born into a branch family, so his circumstances weren't that great. But after I tasted one of Felix's scone by chance, I realized he had incredible talents, so I supported him fully. Of course, Felix worked just as hard, which is why he now owns Cafe Amores. But why do I ask? Harvey's face turned pale, oh my fucking god, and in a small trembling voice, he pointed towards something on the table.
그럼 저 케이크도 혹시 그 친구가 만든 건가요?
What cake? I followed his gaze to the table. It's the fucking pudding cake again. It's following me, I swear to God. Where a bright red cherry pudding cake sat. The one he had offered me to taste not too long ago. Oh, Felix must have left it. He's been working on a new menu recently. He offered me a piece once before, but I didn't eat it. I was on my way to investigate Mary's case back then, so I didn't have an appetite.
잠깐. 뭐라고 했죠? 저 케이크를 언제 또 만들어서 줬다고?
Hi, welcome. His expression was far from normal. I put down the corkscrew and asked cautiously. The day of Mary's case? I went to Cafe Amores to hear more about it. That day, Felix tried to give me this cherry cake, but... What? I couldn't understand why Harvey was reacting this way. Why? Is there something wrong with the cherry pudding cake? If it's made with blood, that's like... No
저
way.
케이크를
Okay.
본 적이 있어요. 분명히 제 기억 어딘가였어.
That cake?
그에게 가봐야겠어요.
What? Now? A terrible feeling flashed through my mind.
그가 어디로 나갔죠? 펠릭스를 붙잡아야겠어요. 지금 당장.
Before I could even grasp the situation, Harvey chased after Felix, running out of the balcony. Wait, Harvey, I'm coming with you. By the time I caught up, Felix had already gone quite far, walking briskly away from the estate. As I walked, the illuminated Cafe Amores came into view in the distance. Harvey, don't go alone. Why is he so hot, right? He's a professor too, so he's very intelligent on top of that. At least wait until Charlie or Aaron arrive so we can go together.
아니요, 제가 반드시 확인해야만 해요.
This game draws men very nicely. So too bad each men only have like 5 CGs.
직접 그 얘기를 들어야만.
Harvey pushed through the door of Cafe Amores without giving me a chance to stop him.
지금은 마감했는데 교수님하고 아가씨? 여기까지는 어쩐 일이세요? 제가 뭘 놓고 왔나요? 실수한 게 있던가?
Harvey was breathing heavily, and he grimaced slightly, as if he was in pain. After leaning against the wall to steady himself, he finally spoke, maintaining some distance from Felix.
당신이군요.
무슨 소리를 하시는 거죠?
당신이 전부 죽였잖아요. 첫 번째 희생자인 앤 니콜스는 그래. 아가씨가 보낸 구호 물자를 팔아다가 술 사는 데 썼던 여자?
And how do you know this info?
엘리자베스 베스트. 아가씨가 보낸 음식을 받아 먹으며 맛이 없다고 맨날 투덜거리면서 욕을 해대서. 세 번째인 메리 제프모는 아가씨와 가장 가까운 곳에 있으면서도 그녀가 품위가 전혀 없다면서 부끄러워해서. 정말 그런 이유로 이들을 전부 죽인 건가요?
Harvey spoke as if piecing together memories, wiping the sweat that trickled down his chin, and smiled with a sense of futility. I turned to Felix in shock, and he... Felix was staring at Harvey with cold, lifeless eyes, completely different from the way he had looked at me moments before. And in that instant, I also sensed something ominous. The look in his eyes was eerily similar to Harvey's when he was choking me, transformed by the criminal's essence.
당신이 그걸 어떻게 알고 있지?
And Felix's question felt like a bombshell confirming everything.
네 번째는 뭐지? 네 번째 캐서린 로드는
그 여자요. 겁도 없이 제 가게에서 아가씨를 험담하던 여자요. 심지어 그 여자는 백작가로 들어가야 하는 고급 밀가루를 빼돌리려고 했죠.
Wasn't that also Mary's fault in Aaron's route? Or am I high?
내가 당신을 위해 만들어야 하는 그 케이크에 들어갈 밀가루를 말이에요.
Otherwise, how would she even get her hands on the flour supposed to be sent to the estate? Isn't she just like a commoner? I'm confused.
정말 악독한 죄질이지 않아요?
What? No, wait. I finally remembered. Is that the Linder heir? She looks like every other girl out there. The rumors of her beauty must have been a lie. She's here to get scones all by herself. It's obvious her employees don't even work properly. Wasn't it her maid who got murdered recently? Terrifying. With all that terror, how did they even go to work? I pity the people who work under her. It was the day I got scones and biscuits for Aaron right after Charlie was released. It seemed to be the woman who was slandering me behind my back. Realizing that, I came to a shocking conclusion. Then, Felix, you killed Mary? No, it can't be.
그 여자는 죽어 마땅했어요. 말이 안 되잖아요. 아가씨는 그 누구보다도 아름다운데.
I couldn't believe it at all, and I found myself unable to speak properly anymore. I couldn't accept that he killed so many people cruelly for such a reason.
어떻게 알고 있는지는 모르겠지만 저를 많이 조사하셨나 봐요. 레이커가 경찰들도 전혀 도달하지 못했던 진실인데.
Even after everything was revealed, Felix looked at me with a proud expression.
뭐 아무래도 상관없어요. 전 아가씨를 위해선 뭐든 할 수 있으니까요. 지금도 그 인간 쓰레기들을 처리한 것에 대해서는 자랑스럽게 생각해요. 그러니까 아가씨도 저를 칭찬해 주실 거죠?
The fuck? Every word that came out of his mouth was horrifying, and I couldn't hear any more of it. My head hurt, and my eyes were spinning. I feel like I could spill out everything inside my stomach. I tried to step away from Felix, moving backward, but soon my back hit the wall, and I collapsed to the floor. Don't come near me. Stay away. Don't come any closer.
아가씨,
No. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring my vision as I shook my head desperately, refusing everything. I didn't want to hear anything. I didn't want to imagine anything. At that moment,
펠릭스 콜!
in an instant, Felix was thrown to the floor, gasping for breath beneath Harvey.
당신은 인간의 피를 탐하는 우리보다 더 잔혹한 존재야.
Just out your existence, bro. You're crazy.
그러고도 정말 같은 사람이라고 말할 수 있어? 고작 그런 이유로 어떻게 그렇게 사람을 잔인하게? 무슨 말을 하는 거죠? 그 이유야말로 그 사람들이 죽기에는 충분했는데 더 찢어 죽였어야 했다고. 헛소리 짓거리지 마!
Harvey started mercilessly striking Felix across the face. Felix's screams echoed for what felt like countless times before I finally regained my senses. Wait, is he actually going to kill him? I noticed that something was wrong with Harvey, now drenched in blood and still throwing punches. Harvey, wait, don't do this, snap out of it.
얼굴을 갈기갈기 찢어놓은 후에 내장을 전부 꺼내서 가축들에게 던져주고.
He's being affected by Felix's emotions?
아니지. 살아있는 동안에 심장을 꺼내어 굶주린 개들에게 던져주는 것도 괜찮겠지.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what Felix said in Aaron's Shroud.
그러면 니놈도 본인이 얼마나 끔찍한 죄를 저지른 건지 죽는 순간까지 참여할 수 있을까? 어?
Harvey's words were filled with a terrifying malice I had never heard before, but I understood that this was not truly him speaking. I dragged my frozen legs and ran to Harvey. Harvey, please stop it now. I held onto his waist as tightly as I could, and it seemed for a moment that he flinched and stopped moving. At that moment, nice. Oh, it's him. Oh no, not nice. Huh? A splattering sound. Harvey convulsed and coughed up a large amount of blood. Harvey? With his hands drenched in blood, whether his own or Felix's, I couldn't tell, he slowly turned to face me. And then, with a smile that was sweeter and softer than ever, he beamed at me.
아가씨, 아가씨.
Before I could even comprehend what that smile meant, I instinctively sensed it. Perhaps this truly could be the end. Oh, no. No, Harvey, no. Harvey. Before my screaming could end, Harvey slowly closed his eyes and collapsed. Somebody help me. A person is dying. Charlie, Aaron, come quick. Where is everyone? Harvey, wake up. Harvey. As if he had fallen into a very deep sleep. He didn't move a muscle, no matter how much I shook him. I searched desperately for someone who could help, my tears flowing uncontrollably. I could faintly hear the sound of police whistles from far away. Was it the help of someone who heard my desperate cries, or was it just the indifferent brush of despair passing by? Please don't do this, please. Somebody help me. A beautiful night illuminated by a bright glowing full moon. Yet, even the moonlight struggled to penetrate the pitch-black darkness, leaving only my desperate calls for him to echo hopelessly. Hopelessly? Hopeless. I don't care. Ending 1. On the day that the true culprit of the serial murders that shook London was caught, thanks to Charlie, who found it strange that I suddenly disappeared from the mansion and searched for me, I was able to get help from the police who happened to be patrolling nearby. Felix, who was unconscious, was arrested, and soon admitted to all the terrible crimes he had committed, but he never confessed to his motives. Aaron, who had returned to the force after the case was resolved, speculated that it was to keep me out of the investigation. He committed a crime that was irreversible, but it made me feel more complicated thinking that it was caused by me.
행동 심리학이란 관찰과 예측이 가능한 행동들을 통해 인간이나 동물의 심리를 객관적으로 연구할 수 있다고 보는 이론이죠.
I love behavioral psychology. It's very fun to study.
정신 분석과 반대되는 개념으로 등장한 과학적 접근 방법인 건 다들 아실 거예요. 행동주의는 경험적이고 실증적인 과학성에 기반을 두고 있고 추상적이고 사변적인 개념을 경계합니다. 이렇게 말하면 어려운 것처럼 느껴지지만 우리는 아주 많은 곳에서 이 이론을 적용할 수 있어요.
I was at King's College again, listening to a psychology lecture.
예를 들면
I felt the gaze from somewhere, as if someone was diligently writing down something on paper. So I looked up.
이성의 생각과 감정을 이해하는데 이런 행동 심리학이 도움이 될 거예요. 상대의 시선이 오른쪽으로 향한다면 과거의 시각적 기억을 떠올리는 것이고 왼쪽으로 간다면 무언가 상상을 하고 있는 것이죠.
I've never heard of this before.
그리고 만약 누군가와 눈이 자주 마주친다면 그건 절대 우연이 아닐 거라고 생각하는 게 좋을 거예요. 인간의 본능은 좋아하는 것을 바라보고 싶어 하기 때문이죠.
That's cute though. He was looking at me when he said that, right? Seeing the slight smile on his face as our eyes met, it seemed my intuition was indeed not wrong. I can't shake the feeling that I'm committing a sin that shouldn't be discovered by others. Embarrassed, I averted my eyes and tried to hide my flushed face. As I fidgeted with my hair for no reason, his voice continued casually, as if nothing was amiss.
여자가 좋아하는 남자 앞에서 머리를 만지는 건 누군가에게 어리광 부리고 싶어하는 마음이라고 하던데.
I think they're just pulling shit out of their ass, but I like it. It's funny. Although I don't see Harvey being this kind of character.
여러분은 어떤가요? 그렇게 생각하나요?
It's stimming, isn't it? I find it like it's a stimming behavior. I wondered if he was teasing me or just trying to gauge my reaction. His words, tossed out playfully as if he wanted me to hear, made me lower my hand from my hair. Really? Why is he being so mean? Even as I grumbled internally, I couldn't hide the smile that was beginning to bloom across my face. Just the fact that Harvey was standing on the podium again made me incredibly happy. Still, I'm glad. The moon was full on the night Felix was arrested. The enhanced vampire energy within Harvey swept him away that day, a lingering effect from the time he immersed himself in Felix's memories. Then Charlie carried the collapsed Harvey, who was vomiting blood, back to the mansion. He managed to survive, but I heard that he really was on the brink of death, and as a result, Harvey spent the full 6 months recuperating, unable to get up from his bed.
여러분이 좋아하는 사람이 있다면 그 마음을 확인하기 위해 뭘 하고 싶나요?
Why is this in behavioral psychology? lecture. I spent most of my time inside the mansion, quietly spending time with him. Though the true culprit of the serial murders has been caught, there was still so much work to be done by the Linders to better Laker Street. Had to check if there was anything I could do for the starving children on the streets, if there was anything I could do for the women who were walking the streets at night. The world was full of unresolved issues, but people were still trying their best to make ends meet. Amidst it all, listening to Harvey's lectures in my spare moments had become my greatest joys these days.
함께 와인을 마시고 있다면 그 시간을 이용해 보는 것도 좋은 방법이에요.
Recommending wine to students that might only be around the age range of mostly 18 to 20, 122 is incredibly bad as a professor. Bruh, get a grip, bruh!
손가락으로 잔의 윗부분을 이리저리 만지고 자르 부분을 문지르면
Okay, now I don't like it anymore. I don't like this progression. They killed it for me.
그걸 다른 신호로 받아들일 거예요.
Wine. I remember the days when I used to go to Felix's shop every time I wanted to drink wine. Amorce ended up closing, but we could not completely cut ties with the Coles. They've had quite a long relationship with the Linders, and his father came to the mansion, went down on his knees, and begged. Because of Felix, no one would purchase desserts from the Coles, but the remaining family members had to find a way to make money. Even if the rest of London were to ignore them, I couldn't neglect the Coles.
하지만 이런데도 상대가 나의 호감을 눈치채지 못한다면 그때는 과감하게 나서보는 것도 필요하겠죠?
I do not want to hear my professor flirting in class. Oh no, I missed the lecture while I was lost in thought. I quickly shook off the thought and resolved to focus on his lecture once again. The lecture ended and I was organizing my intricately written notes when... Vere? Huh? Are you calling me? A male student who had been sitting next to me during the lecture timidly started talking to me. Ah, yes, actually, I noticed that you've been really engaged in the psychology lecture. I'm also very interested in this major. If you're interested, how about we grab a cup of tea and chat about various topics? Oh, if only I got that kind of offer. Really? But I haven't been in this lecture for long, so I might not have much to talk about. Is that okay? Of course. You're welcome anytime. I glanced at Harvey, who was erasing the board at the front. Since he would be in the office for research today, it seems I could take my time chatting with this person before heading back. However, the idea of being alone with someone of the opposite sex didn't sit well with me, so I hesitated for a moment. Ah, don't worry about it. My friends over there decided to join us too. Ah, I see then. Seeing a few students who seemed to be waiting for their friend at the entrance, I wanted to nod in agreement, but...
아가씨,
Oh, Professor, are you finished now?
저번에 읽고 싶다고 한 책이 들어왔던데 사무실로 받으러 오지 않을래요?
Really? Then I'll go pick it up later.
아니요, 지금 와야 해요. 안 그러면 더 이상 기회가 없을 거예요.
Huh? Why? Did you decide to lend it to someone else?
맞아요. 그러니까 지금 와요.
Is that book really that important? I tilted my head in confusion, but ultimately decided to choose the more important option. Well, since the professor is this adamant, I guess I have no choice. If there is another opportunity, please invite me again next time. Okay.
그럼 갈까요?
Harvey naturally opened the door to escort me, and I headed to Harvey's office, leaving behind the disappointed faces of the male students. When we arrived at the office, Harvey closed the door and immediately sank into the sofa with a sigh. I looked at him with concern as he loosened his tie, perhaps feeling uncomfortable. Are you alright? His condition had improved significantly, but his stamina didn't seem to come back as easily as I had hoped. After giving lectures, Harvey often suffered from a mild thirst, and each time I willingly reached out to help him. Here, drink my blood.
고마워요.
That sounded lewd. He always had an apologetic expression for taking my blood. I didn't mind at all. In fact, I wish he would rely on me more. I worried that someday he would secretly disappear, saying he didn't want to be a burden for me, and then end his life in a place where no one could find him. I found it terrifying to merely imagine such a thing, so I couldn't bring myself to say anything. Take a short break. As he took a moment to catch his breath after drinking blood, I stood up and turned towards the bookshelf, as if to escape the situation. What was the name of the book I wanted to read again? How do you not know what book you want to read? What? I often ask for books whenever they come to mind, so I'm not really sure. Is it one of the books here on the shelf? As I tried to lighten the mood with trivial chatter. Oh, whoa.
아가씨,
Ayo. Startled by the voice that came from just a breath away, I turned around. No, hello, pretty boy. Well, new thumbnail, new thumbnail. With slightly murky crimson eyes and silky flowing silver blonde hair, he stood there, looking at me. He stood much closer than I had expected, and I felt as though my breath was taken away. Harvey?
오늘은 내 강의 어땠어요?
Oh my god, I am dying. Of course it was great. He came close enough to fill my eyes, and the first question he asked was so ordinary that I averted my gaze and barely managed to respond.
처음에 난 당신이 내 강의를 들으러 여기까지 와주는 게 좋았어요. 눈을 반짝이면서 내 말 한마디 한마디를 놓치지 않으려 집중하는 모든 순간이 좋았고 기뻤어요. 당신 덕분에 목숨을 구하고 지금도 겨우겨우 살고 있는 내가 해줄 수 있는 건 이 정도뿐이니까. 처음에는 욕심내지 않으려 했어요. 이제 곧 사그러질 나에 비해서 당신은 가장 아름다운 때를 살고 있고 반짝이고 있으니까요. 그런데 당신에게 다가오는 남자들을 볼 때마다 자꾸만 욕심이 나더군요. 내가 가질 수만 있다면 당당하게 어깨를 끌어안고 당신을 내 것이라 말할 수 있다면 난 어느새 나를 보던 그 눈동자가 다른 이들에게 향하지 않기만을 바라고 있었어요.
See, this is a better confession than Aaron's "let me have you." You know, like, at least they tried. This is good. I accept this. The softly spoken confession from Harvey felt surreal, as if I were dreaming. I longed for this moment to arrive. I thought perhaps I was witnessing it in a dream. That's a lie. You've never said anything like that to me before.
가능하다면 계속 숨기려고 했으니까요.
He answered playfully and ultimately chuckled before asking me again. Oh, he smells so
내 말이
pretty.
아직도 믿기지 않아요?
Perhaps.
곤란하네요. 내가 공부해온 모든 심리학의 이론을 적용해봐도 내 마음은 당신에게 향해 있다고밖에 결론이 나지 않는데 심장이 뛰질 않으니 물리적으로 확인시켜줄 수도 없고.
Then, if I study psychology more diligently, wouldn't I gain some certainty?
그것도 좋은 방법이네요.
Pick another major, damn it. Don't flirt like this, it hurts me.
하지만 너무 오래 걸리지 않았으면 좋겠어요. 욕심이 많아진 나는 조금 성급하거든요. 그리고 좀 더 심리학을 배우고 싶다면 이제 학교로 오지 않아도 돼요.
Then,
저택에서 가르쳐 줄게요. 우리 둘만 있는 공간에서.
God, I want the Harvey.
당신이 나에
Oh,
대한
not
확신을
that
가질
part.
때까지 언제까지라도요.
With his last words, he kissed me as if he were about to devour all of me. It sent shivers down my spine. The fact that a vampire who had once let go of everything was now showing desire for my very existence made me want to cry with joy. That is sweet. That is sweet. He managed to finally have another reason to why he should live. I like that a bit. Will we mean something to each other as we go on living our respective lives?
이 마음이 넘쳐 흘러서 더는 당신 앞에서 숨길 수가 없게 됐나 봐요. 사랑한다고. 그러니 나와 함께 이 생을 살아달라고.
The faint darkness settled in his office, filled with the scent of ink and paper, as time slowly slipped away. I wrapped my arms around his neck, feeling the happiness spreading within me. I think it's unfair that Aaron got a naked CG and Harvey doesn't. I think they're playing favorites. This is unfair. I demand equality. Where is my naked Harvey CG? Pain. We are still doing his bad ending after this. Well, not bad ending, neutral ending? The other ending, ending 2. So yeah. And then I think I'm doing... what's his name? Charlie's ending tomorrow. Or in 2 days. Pretty song.
황혼의 유령.
Okay. And then we reload here, I think. Wait, no. I'm not sure. What is this one? Yeah, sure. Wait, no. I think I have to actually load the other one. Hey, no, never mind, I'm stupid. This is the start of Harvey's route, yeah? Move on and talk about something else. However, from the look on his face, it seemed like it was a sensitive issue, so I didn't want to pursue it. Well, if that's the case, okay. I smiled, awkwardly trying to move on, but Harvey seems to be worried about me.
그래도 이미 들어버렸으니 궁금할 수밖에 없겠죠.
He eventually decided to confide in me.
어제는 나름도 혼란스러운 것 같아.
I had already missed the chance to officially register, but as the heir of a noble family, I had my ways. What if I were to make a donation to King's College? I feel like they'd let me take your lectures.
그건 대학만 좋은 일이지 내게는 이득이 되지 않잖아요.
Should I be paying you then?
농담이에요. 어쩔 수 없네요.
Do you not actually enjoy teaching, Harvey?
좋아하냐 싫어하냐로 물으면 좋아하는 쪽이겠죠.
Then don't let go of it yourself. Try holding on to it. No one has forced you to step down from that position, right? You should hold on tightly to what you love so you don't lose it.
하지만 그렇게 엄청 좋아하냐고 물으면 그런 것도 아닌데. 저보다 이 일에 잘 맞고 좋아하는 사람이 있지 않을까요?
Maybe, but why does that matter? What's important is that you enjoy it, at least enough to have read so many books and worked this hard. So don't give up easily on the things you have now. They're by your side because they hold their own meaning, right? This is like the bad option, but I really like that. Like, I struggle a lot with that too, so that's really helpful to say.
아가씨,
I don't understand why that's not like the correct option. How about organizing the information we've gathered based on the questions that have come up so far?
물론 그것도 필요하지만 지금 당장 먼저 하고 싶은 게 있어요.
What is it?
범인의 입장이 되어서 사건 현장을 다시 둘러보는 거예요. 단순히 범인의 흔적을 찾아내려고 하는 게 아니라 그 시선에서 새롭게 보이는 것들이 있을 테니까요.
Oh,
그럼 일단 첫 번째 사건 현장부터 돌아볼까요?
with that, oh wait, I'm done. Express concern. You can have my blood, but I'm worried about you, Harvey. What if you collapse again from overexerting yourself?
너무 걱정하지 말아요. 쓰러지기 전에 내가 잘 컨트롤 해볼게요.
Unable to resist his persuasion, I took a deep breath and extended my hand to him. Sorry, wait. I've been having some real trust issues with my mic, so I periodically like to check if it's on properly. So yeah. Call out to Harvey. For some reason, I feel like he might answer me if I kept calling his name, so I spoke to him again and again. Harvey, are you really not going to wake up? Harvey, wake up, now! Harvey! In the end, my voice cracked with frustration, and I fell silent once again. However, unwilling to give in to the negative thoughts, I wiped away my tears and gave Harvey a light tap. However, it was difficult for me to nod in agreement when he asked me to decide immediately. Do I have to decide right now?
지금 당장은 아니어도 괜찮아요. 하지만 당신은 언젠가는 알아야 할 문제예요.
As a member of the Linder family, I had no idea what kind of responsibility I will have to bear, but the thought of having to prepare myself was a cause for worry. Actually, if you put it that way, I think I do need more time to prepare. But I suppose it's better to face it sooner rather than later, so just tell me.
심리학에는 여러 가지 분야가 있어요.
The fireworks going off at this hour is crazy. Need to be done soon before it gets too loud. Hold on to his arm. Although my lips trembled at the sight of the unfamiliar Harvey, I somehow managed to run up to him and cling to him tightly. Harvey, please stop! I almost flew backwards from Harvey's swinging arms. But just as I managed to hold my ground, it seemed like he finally stopped moving. At that moment, Bleed. Ending 2. A few days had passed. The true culprit of the serial murders that shook London was caught, and the world found peace again. And there was a sad being quietly preparing to end its own life. Poor baby. Harvey. He coughed repeatedly, and once again he spat out blood, struggling to catch his breath. Today seems particularly severe. Would you like to drink some water?
괜찮아요. 어차피 물이 이 고통을 해소해주진 않으니까요.
He replied with a smile, his face looking even more haggard than before. On the day Felix was arrested, Harvey collapsed while coughing up blood, and he was still struggling to recover his health.
조금만 쉴게요. 자리를 좀 피해줄 수 있겠어요?
What? But...
아가씨도 조금은 쉬어야죠. 언제까지 이렇게 병수를만 들 수는 없는 거잖아요.
I'm fine. I'll just stay in this room, so please. He barely managed to lift himself from the bed, and smiled as he left a small kiss on my forehead.
걱정하지 말아요. 내가 이 몸으로 어딜 갈 수 있겠어요?
Does he not know forehead kisses is not legal if you're not planning to get in a relationship with the girl? That's illegal. I have talked about this in the Bloody Painter dating sim, and I will reiterate again. You are not allowed to kiss a girl's forehead because it gives people feelings. Do not kiss their forehead if you don't plan to take responsibility. What the fuck?
그러니까 조금만 자다 와요.
So rude, Harvey.
그리고 내일 또 보면 되죠.
Also lying bad. Okay.
착하지?
Seeing me reluctantly nod, Harvey gave me one more quick kiss.
잘 자요. 오늘도 사랑해요.
And even a confession when you're not trying to date? Disgusting. Horrible man. It sounded as if he mourned the passage of time, whispering sweet declarations of love in my ear before sending me away. Good night, Harvey. See you tomorrow. Also, I would have stayed there if he's sick, stay there. We exchanged our goodbyes as always, and when I visited Harvey's room the next day, I faced the worst ending that I had been too afraid to properly imagine until now. In the room absent of its owner, only a single letter remained. I thought he can't leave.
그리고
I thought he can't leave. Sorry, I fucked that up, huh? Here, hear it again.
미안해요. 그리고 사랑했어요.
Liar.
황혼해.
I hate liars. Okay. Well, that is it for Harvey's route. Let's just check the stuff we get. Yeah. Okay. Harvey's Promise Me and Poor Creature. Oh wait, no. Sorry. Hey, which one? Overflowing with Emotions? No, I apologize. I don't know. Which are which? I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused. Okay. But yeah, we got his endings. Wait a minute. I'm missing one on chapter 7. Is interesting. Is this Charlie? So Charlie will get 3. Oh, this is like the route? And then the endings. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. So these are Harvey's endings. Okay. That's good. And then, He's so pretty. I like this CG the best, I think. Such a good boy. Oh wait, this one's cute too. Never mind, he has lots of good CGs. Look at the baby. I love his smile. Okay. But yeah, that was all for Harvey. And see you guys next time for Charlie's.